Can you lose by following God? I'm not talking about following people. I'm not talking about following your friends. I'm not talking about following different preachers. I'm not talking about following other men. Can you lose by following God? He created the heavens and the earth. He's the greatest, and he loves us so much. How could you lose if you follow God? I follow him anyway. Father, I stretch my hands to you. Yeah. Without your love and mercy, tell me what could I do? Yeah. How could you lose if you followed God? He's Alpha, he's Omega, he's the beginning, he's the end. How could you lose if you followed God? Can you lose by following God? Everything to me. Can you lose by following God? Lord have mercy tonight. How could you lose? Father, I stretch my hands to you. Oh yeah, without your love and mercy, tell me what could I do?
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions. We cannot share information from floor to floor in this building because it's stored on dozens of different technological systems that are inaccessible or incompatible.
As the Talmud says, I don't give a shit what he says.
Today the Jews rule this world by proxy. They get others to fight and die for them. They invented socialism, communism, human rights and democracy so that persecuting them would appear to be wrong.
Then Jesus went into the temple of God and drove out all those who bought and sold in the temple, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who served doves.
It is written, "My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves."
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
For safe and secure society.
See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. Fuck society.
The old world will burn, islands of industry, forests will fall. A new order will rise.
Strider, are you there?
I am here.
Sweet. Welcome back, Apokalypsis people. We're back. It's been a while. Back live. We've been here for a minute. As you saw, I was just skiing, so I look kind of I look like I'm probably hot as fuck right now, and I kind of am. How you doing, Strider?
I'm doing good.
In a minute.
I'm chilling. I got a fresh cup of coffee. I'm ready to get into everything today. I got a cat next to me that's trying to fight the dog.
I thought I was about to say she bringing good vibes. I guess not. Oh,
She just wants to be left alone.
I'll tell you that. I know your dog. She'd be a little too crazy. But you should tell the people what we're looking to get into today. There's been some pretty good news as of lately. I mean, we've been going for a while, but we've been keeping up with the news.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've been gone for a couple months. Took a little hiatus. We were going to get back on track last month, but that ended up not working out, scheduling and whatnot. So now our new plan is we're going to be here on Friday evenings around the same time, usually every week. You know, sometimes schedules change and sometimes we won't be.
I heard a little bit of this. You're trying to get in on too. You trying to get a word on this? No, that's not just you. And on top of that, I was just saying we came up with this idea too because we've obviously talked a lot, even not being on the show, but we've talked a lot about like if things were to fall and we needed to create something out from the fallout. It's like how we would build up society, how we want to arrange people and workloads, stuff like that too. For uh, to obviously you need to have something in replacement for what's going to be destroyed, and as we're see in the stages that we are now in the world, that's the inevitable. So it's kind of like we put together in our minds that we talk to each other about what we would put together so we can have a more prosperous society than this one that's going to end up falling in the future. That's the whole idea too, and it might not be like necessarily like a thing we do every week too. It's like I feel like we will probably end up breaking it down, like maybe like do something like time of philosophical talk every month or twice a month, whatever the case may be. It's really any much time we want to do it, but we'll see how it goes. But as of that, we have that plan for you guys, and obviously we can't come up on this show and not even talk about the news that's happened recently with the whole Trump and the Epstein's list. I mean, there's more to, other than that too, but there's that. Have your I'm gonna put your screen up here. I actually have a window open so I can show you your screen. This is our like these people haven't built like when his whole running team was talking about this 24/7 to get the vote of other MAGA dipshits. Hmm. Interesting. Are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Of course we're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein. The shit that his teams always promised to show because obviously obviously on the opposing team, the Democrats, they would be on that list too. But I imagine, which I mean is pretty obvious, that the reason they don't want to release something like this is, in fact, these same people that you saw on the screen are more than likely on the shit, especially the man on the right. Yeah. Well, and then I guess also, you still have to see that he's still appealing to a base that if he did come out and admit that and said, how distraught everyone would be hearing some information. Yeah. No. It, Mhm. Yep, and I completely agree with that too. And it's funny too because the people that weren't normally talking about this stuff, it seems like now everybody and their mama knows. Like I know people who were, let's say, I mean specifically the politically they're Democrats and whatnot that really didn't know much or anything about the Epstein. Like they probably heard of Epstein, but really didn't know any information about it. Now you have people on the left or the moderate left that talk about it now, or even just regular people now. They're like, oh yeah, the whole Epstein's list and like Trump being on it, and like depending on who that person's support of. It's like they either talk about oh he doesn't want to release the Epstein list because he's on it too, or you have his MAGA base trying to play this game of like oh he's doing some 4D chess in order to expose the Democrats, which like quite frankly, I think him showing that like if that was the case, if you saw like majority like a whole lot of Democrats on that list, he would show it even anyway, even though it shows his name because his fans are just gonna be like, oh, he's on there just because he was friends. Doesn't mean that he did any diddling shit. I mean, they'll just find a way to keep switching up the story and making it seem like that Trump actually didn't do anything wrong. It's like, and of course he's gonna be with Epstein. He's a billionaire and stuff like that. He's rich. It's like, is he just gonna ignore the guy? But it's it's really crazy how now with all this stuff out and with people opening their eyes now, we're just completely getting gaslit the hell about this existing list. 'Cause we know it exists, but now we're being gaslit like it's just never a thing, even though they glazed the fuck out of it. Like it's just consistently bringing up the Epstein list and like, oh, we're gonna expose this, we're gonna expose that, and I mean, I didn't have any impression that was ever going to be exposed because we don't have any type of bias to where we would think it's like, oh, none of the Republicans are not, or Trump specifically is not on the list, and it's just the Democrats. It's like we know all of them are, every single one of them are. So of course they're not going to release it, but they're going to make sure that they continue to repeat that so that the fan base stays and the fan base waits and listens, and then give the votes and whatnot, and now we're here where we're being told that it doesn't even exist, or it's like, and we're still talking about it. It's like, are you guys just going to stop? It's like, no, we're not going to stop. We want to know who these kid diddling pieces of shit are at the end of the day. We want to know who is behind the scenes, who's doing all this, who's organizing all the child sex trafficking going on here. How is this working? How are they getting so under the radar? We want to know all this stuff. We want to know. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's obviously no, no, there wouldn't, and no. Sorry, I apologize. So, and then no good. Okay, I was gonna say, I was just gonna chime in and say, like, and with all our government being infiltrated and all the higher ups and elitists doing this stuff, you think they're really gonna expose themselves to do this stuff? No, by no means. It's like that's why nothing's gonna get exposed. That's why nothing's gonna get exposed. And if it ever was, I mean, it's just gonna be them trying to point the finger and whatnot too. But they're not gonna do that either because it's a Brotherhood did this shit. So it's like we're never gonna see it because of that, because our government's been so infiltrated. Everything, almost every government around the world has. So we're not gonna see it. hmm And I don't even know necessarily if everything was exposed, if people would even really take up arms and do something about these people. No. hmm
Going out and spending all their hard-earned cash on shit that they don't need. We can't stop watching porn. We can't stop getting high. We can't stop going out and drinking. And to a point, they're right. Like that is the majority of society. It's the majority of society is bad people, people who are so out of touch with themselves that they right to have to quench these desires and fulfill everything that they possibly could imagine, and you know so unless we stop doing that as a whole, unless we start one by one making the change that we want to see in society, starting with me and you and everybody we know, we all start taking the changes to slowly change the world around us, nothing's ever going to change, and these Epstein files are never going to come out, and this the pressure will never be on the elites, because we start making ourselves a threat, just expect this shit to keep happening.
No, I completely agree with that. Like, it's really the softness of society, and then just people just accepting the fact for the way it is. That's like, I hear people say it all the time with, like, you know, they're such strong and powerful. They're in the government. You know, they're in the government. They have access to the military and whatnot, and police force. What can you really do about it? What could you do to bring down evil people that you know are evil and are doing heinous things? What do you do? It's like, well, you do the normal thing that everyone's ever done in society. Like, when our leadership, when our when people in power have done wrong things and have done society wrong, society went and they caused a revolution. They tore down these people and, quite frankly, put them to the guillotine, took their heads off. At the end of the day, we're not going to do that, because we're also soft and fine with our little bit of entertainment, with all our processed foods and whatnot. It's like we're all fine with just being in a state to where we don't have to, you know, worry about any of that stuff. We rather be, you know, fed the information and then do nothing about it. It's kind of just seen as another form of entertainment. It's like, that's why even people watch the news and stuff like that. No one's going to do anything about stuff that's been shown on the news, but they'll definitely listen and read about it. You know, they're fine with that. It's because, like, you know, at least you're being fed that. At least you're being stimulated in a way to where, you know, you're still getting your form of entertainment, even if it's not like entertainment in a sense like watching a movie or whatnot. It's like people like to be fed things. They like to be kept in the loop, but because of the comfortability they have in society, we're not worried about causing a revolution or fighting it back against the system. And then the only people that are doing are people that are weak anyway, and that are built up because within a weak society. So they're not going to do anything anyway. They'll keep marching with their fucking posters. They'll keep, you know, shouting slogans that no one cares about. It's like, oh yeah, like, for instance, Free Palestine. It's like, yeah, that's completely doing absolutely nothing to help the actual Palestinians over there. The best you could probably do to even have any support is go over there and fight yourself. You have access to go to Palestine, I think. But why don't you do something about it? What are you doing over here? You're doing absolutely nothing. You're holding a sign, and then after that, after you're done all that marching, after you're all done holding all those signs and shouting your slogans, you go to Starbucks and get yourself a nice little coffee, cold brew coffee. You go sit down and go watch some more people in the news rant about the shit too, and still not doing anything. It's crazy.
they get done protesting and go directly back to mindlessly consuming, and you know, I don't advocate for people to go over and fight for Palestine, and
Yeah, me either.
you know, like we any civilian who goes over and fights for Palestine is going to meet a very terrible end, and that's just the way it is. You're not going to make any change, and you know, but if we can, you have to look at it like this: the Palestinians have been facing this attack for, like I said, 80 years now. Every single day of their lives for 80 years, and they haven't stopped it yet. And I'm not saying that I blame them entirely for being victimized, like they have been, but at the same time, we can't do anything about it individually. So individually, even if like a group of 15 of your best friends, you know, you guys, you know, oh, fuck this, I've seen enough of this. We're going over there and we're going to be freedom fighters with the Palestinians, and we're going to help them. You know, we're going to give them aid. Well, you're all going to die probably. And two,
Optimism.
you're going to die without having made any positive change. for the betterment of the situation. Yeah, you might go and put a smile on a few of the Palestinians' faces because you were brave enough to go over there and help them, and you gave them some food. But at the end of the day, your contribution is going to mean little to nothing for the overall situation.
True.
But if we continue to change ourselves, to make ourselves illuminate and bring ourselves closer to God, and by bringing yourself closer to God, you're going to bring the people around you closer to the God, because they're going to have no choice but to see the positive changes inside of you. You're going to influence the positive changes inside of other people. The positive changes you influence inside of other people, then they influence somebody, and then that person influences somebody. So it's a domino effect that, albeit it's going to be slow, you have no other choice. That's the only way you're going to change society, is if you start from within, and you start slow, and you start a movement. And while it might seem slow, if all of us committed to doing that, if all of us committed to changing ourselves and helping bring the people around us out of darkness, we could change the world very quickly. And I'm talking about maybe in a decade we could make some serious change in the world if we each took the time and the effort to actually try to change ourselves and the people around us. But how can we do that if we're mindlessly consuming? How can we do that if the only thing you can think about is getting home and wasting your money on Fortnite skins, or the only thing you can think about is getting home and not starting a family because you can't afford it, but going out and wasting all your money at the bar, or going out and buying $200-$300 worth of weed in a month. You're not going to make any changes like that. So you're better off just going back to the traditional ways. Even if it seems harder, go back to the traditional ways. Yeah. Oh, you can't afford to start a family. You can't afford to start a family now. It's harder than it was for your parents or your grandparents. No shit. But it's still something that you have to go back to the traditional ways. You have to go back and to get us away from the traditional ways. So the only way to beat them is to go back to what they tried to take from you. And I'm really hopeful that people can just do that.
Yeah, and I feel like there is like a level of awakening that's going on here on the earth. That's like on the earth as a whole, and especially here in the United States. Like, people are people are on a level to where they see the system is corrupt or whatnot too, but they keep still falling into the games of the elites where they're picking sides. Or if you have people like are similar to us, who see for the world for what it really is, but they almost become nihilistic in their thinking, where it's like, we can't do anything about it anyway, so why even try? Or like anything about, like, we would preach any type of traditional stance on, like, well, the best things you can do now is, like you said, get a house, start a family, follow the old traditional ways, which is possible, guys. The only reason why it's not possible for most other people in the United States is because everyone lives up to like an expensive type of lifestyle, which is like, you could have that if you had the money to do that, but and on top of that, you don't have to have an expensive lifestyle in order to live a good life. I know everyone has this delusion that they need these fine Lexus cars and a big old house and everything like that to live good, and needs to give into some form of degeneracy in order to live a life. Like, you don't need to go out and party. You don't need to go out and have sex with a bunch of women either, no matter how good it feels. There's a whole lot of things that you don't need to do, that if you didn't do those things and then you went on the right path, you would have a fantastic life, just like the life that you see that your grandparents had. I'm not saying every grandparent, because not every grandparent had the best life, but for the most part, within their generation, everyone lived good. Everyone had a family, everyone had a good household, and everyone, most importantly, had good morals and values and ideals, and practiced and wanted their children to follow through suit in that, even though we see now, due to even some of the older generation, they're the cause of all this. But at the end of the day, we could still go back to older ways and see for the fact that this is definitely better for society. No, people weren't mentally ill like crazy in those like societies. People actually didn't look towards external factors for complete and utter happiness. And if anything was an external factor for their complete happiness, it was their family, and it was the things that they built with their own hands, and instead of stuff that just doesn't even matter, which is constantly pushed on today. It's it's like the traditional ways is definitely the way. It's like there's reasons why even modern studies show that traditional marriage, traditional households and whatnot work and show more happiness than other types of family styles or non-family styles. Like, for example, with homosexual relationships, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of negative that come out of homosexual relationships. When it comes to even crime and some levels molestation and stuff like that. You'll see like a lot of negative things come out of that too. You never truly see that in a traditional marriage. It's like not saying you never see it, but it's rare. It's very much rare. And that just goes to show, like with all the things that we're talking about too, if you do these things, that's just as important as causing the revolution and bringing these people to justice, bringing these elitist pedophiles to justice. That's just as important too, because the pinnacle of society, the foundation of society, is the family. I mean, obviously, you have to have a really hardcore established government and whatnot too, which we'll get into later into the podcast. But on another note, you should have nuclear families, strong nuclear families within your foundation, making children and bringing them up to be the best in society, and be able to give to society. Giving back to society is not only giving back to your government, but it's giving back to your people. Your people matter. And I'm not. And when I say that, and even when Strider says that, we're not talking about like race in a way. We're just talking about your people within your society. And here in the United States, like I have black neighbors, white neighbors, and stuff like that. I have all of them. And like they're Americans at the end of the day, and they're getting screwed by the government as much as I'm getting screwed, and they're part of this as much as I'm part of this. And I want them to do good, because if they do good, I also do better too, and our society does better. And that's what we would want in our ideal society. So I guess this is kind of like a teaser almost to like what we're going to get into, which is going to be a little bit more deeper than what I'm talking about. But it's very vital that you have strong families and you have a strong community and everyone's giving back. And obviously not everyone's going to be able to give back, but you have such a strong community that you're not even necessarily worried about, particularly those who can't really give back and giving back. It's like they're going to be taken care of because we have such a strong community. And that's what's important. That's what's been lost over modern society. We don't have that sense of community anymore. I look back at like movies and shows and stuff like that too, and just even recall back with family members at time of like the 70s and even the 80s, 60s and 50s and stuff like that, because I have grandparents that were around that time. It's like they know what it is to have that sense of community, have that sense of, your neighbor actually looks out for you. You can go to your neighbor if you were even in trouble, and he'll look out for you, or she'll look out for you. And like the family, and I mean the kids, like the whole neighborhood was basically the family of the kids too. Like if the kids were in trouble, the whole community was going to help them out. The neighbors were going to help them. They looked out for your kids like they were theirs. It's like that's the stuff that we need. That's the true stuff that we need. If you want to talk about really healing society and bringing society back, that's the key right there. That's extremely important. Like I said, we can have strong government and everything like that too, but if you don't have these foundations laid out right, then everything's going to crumble. Government is what you have when you build a good foundation. Government isn't the foundation. It's the people, it's the families, it's the households. That's the foundation. Not government. Government is propped up and made when the people are set and the families are set in the foundation. And then from those families, from that foundation, outrises strong, wise, respectful, compassionate men that are going to rule over the society and do what's best for society. That's what it is. And like I said, this is peeking into our little bit of our philosophy, a little bit in how we would order society. But that's the point. That's mainly my point too, and that's something that we need to go back to. But we're obviously not going to go back to that if we don't fix our house, if we don't do our in-house jobs, if we don't fix everything even in our houses today, and then go out more and then trample all this evil within our government and within our society, we're never going to see stuff like that anymore. We're never going to see the times where people were going out and enjoying times with each other, actually being sociable, like actual, fun things to do, and actual community engaging with each other. You're not going to see that if we don't clean up our house, and we need to, or else you're going to keep getting ruled by satanic people, satanic pedophilic people, and they're going to do anything they wish on you. They're never ever going to be looking out for you. They might throw you a bone here. Sometimes you got to give a dog a bone, but they're not going to ever give you the hand. They're never going to give you the whole beef. They're not going to have a beef rib. They're only going to give you the bone. They're not going to give you the whole beef rib. That's theirs. They want that. You get the leftovers. So don't think just because government gives you stuff that they're looking out for you. It's never, at least in this day today, it's never been the case. It's never been the case. But are you there? I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't like rambling for too long. Strada, are you there? Just so you know, you're muted. Well, he's probably doing something. He has pets and stuff like that, so gotta probably has some things he has to fix in there. But yeah, guys, definitely, if you get one thing from us, if you even listen completely through all this stuff, just know that that's the stuff that you really need to be working on. If you're really confused and really want to help the world, fix the world, and you don't know where to start, stuff like that, start with that. It's like, don't let this idea of you being too young or you not being in a position to do certain things like marriage and whatnot, don't let that get in your head and like you can't do those things, because you can too. It's like you just gotta think smart and you gotta lay things out in your life so that you're able to get the best life possible. And a lot of part of life comes with sacrifice. You do have to sacrifice a good amount in this life in order to live your best life through the rest of your life. Like so maybe you can't go out to the club much anymore. Maybe you can't go out with your buddies anymore. Maybe you can't play video games as much anymore. Maybe you can't drink as much. Maybe you can't. But at the end of the day, you sacrificing all these things is going to lead to a betterment in your mental health and your physical health, and you're going to feel connected to community and feel like you're actually establishing something here on the earth too. And especially if you're a man. If you're a man and you build a family, you feel so much success in building that family because all of everything of that family was built by you. Especially if you're following the traditional sense. It's like you worked hard, you racked up all the money, you found the best woman possible, you helped obviously in making the children stuff too, and you help take care of those children, and you help take care of them financially. You teach them good ideals and morals, and
I'm back in looks.
Okay, it's funny. I was making sure you're there. I figured that you were doing something with your pets, but I was rambling all the time, so it's good. I kept
the
audience
dog
listening.
The dog is going absolutely crazy. She was doing backflips.
Trust me, bro. I know, bro. I told him too. It's like the pets go a little bit crazy sometimes, especially that dog. So it's like you gotta give him a little time.
I just took her to pee, and she's sprinting full speed around the entire apartment right now.
Who?
The dog. She's sprinting full speed around the entire apartment.
Jesus
right
Christ, she's got a lot of energy. You took her outside, man? The fuck?
Yeah, I had to take her out. I live in a bad area. I can't have my wife go out there at nighttime and take her out.
Oh, you just took her out?
The sun's down. Yeah, I took her out to pee because she was doing like backflips and shit.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I figured that was the case too. It's funny because I was thinking that maybe she did have to go out to the bathroom, stuff like that. But really, I was like, while you were going, I was just kind of talking about how family, and plus with family comes community, how that lays out the foundation for a good society and lays out a foundation for government. Because I was saying that the government isn't necessarily the foundation, but the families and stuff like that, the kids that are being born from these good moral families are going to bring up wise, strong, compassionate, and intelligent men to be able to lead society.
Oh yeah, definitely. What is how long have we been on YouTube live?
It says 46 minutes.
All right, so we'll go for another 14 minutes. At around 9:20, we'll take a little break, unless you have a song to play.
I think. Well, I sent one to you. But also, I was gonna say, while I was thinking about it, there was like a part when we were streaming. Uh, I had to fix it because at first they couldn't hear you, and that's because when I was trying to hear you, I switched the audio to my headbuds so I could have it here. But now, uh, obviously I don't have it on now. So
Oh,
so
what
so
was that at the very beginning?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
It's not like now or anything, but I was like, "Fuck!" And it's like, well, that's something I probably should have worked on beforehand, but it's okay. It's all good now. They can hear you and stuff. So, but
yeah. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, we'll keep going to 9:20. Then we'll go take a break. I'm gonna fill up my coffee. Um, but yeah,
I was actually
you're right.
sorry. I was gonna say I was gonna get your stance on that. It's like because obviously we talk about like strong authoritative government and whatnot too, but I told him it's like that's not necessarily the core, the foundation. The core of the foundation is obviously the family first, and that's how people nowadays can like if they really wanted to work on something and they feel like they wanted to do something to change society, they build up good moral families.
Well, yeah. So is it the root and the foundation of any empire, any good empire, good as in living for God and for the betterment of humanity. The foundation of any good empire is going to be, it's going to start in the household of every citizen. And Aristotle says that a good citizen is someone who's able to rule and also able to be ruled. And what he means by that, he doesn't mean that every citizen is going to get the chance to be a ruler or to have part in the government, but every citizen must have that. You must instill in your citizens that they need to be able to take charge if they were told they needed to, and that starts in the household. As a man, you need to be able to rule your household as you would a kingdom. You're a citizen. Your household is your kingdom inside of the kingdom. And so as a man, everything starts with you. And the way everything starts with you, and the way you instill the righteousness in virtue into your household, is by making sure everybody knows their role. Everybody has to know their role, and it's as simple as yin and yang, light and dark, masculine and feminine. If you're a man, your wife has to be the feminine. You have to be the masculine. Your wife has to be the feminine. And in this day and age, it's hard for a lot of people to grasp that, because it's impossible for people to survive off of one income. So everybody's wife, for the most part, has to go get a job, unless you're lucky enough to make a very large amount of money as a single person, as the sole breadwinner in your family. But the overwhelming majority of households don't have that. So if your wife has to get a job, and in order for you guys to be able to make your life comfortable, there's nothing wrong with that. But the confusion in a lot of households comes from the fact that now the wife is outside of the house for X amount of hours every week, which is a masculine thing. That in and of itself is a masculine thing. Going back to the very early days of humanity, the woman was at the tent, the teepee, whatever the hell you want to call it. She was making clothes. She was making medicine. She was healing people. She was taking care of the children, all within however many feet around your little settlement, your little campground, your little whatever. But now the society has forced women to go contrary to the role that they were designed for, and now women have to go outside the house, just like men used to be outside the house hunting animals, men at war. But now women have to do that, and a lot of women and a lot of households get confused by this and think that because the woman has to be outside the house earning money, that she also gets to have a say in the masculine things that need to be done inside the household. And it just can't be that way. It can't be that way. If you're sitting at home and somebody breaks in your front door, are you going to tell your wife to get the gun while you hide in the closet? No, you're not. It can't be that way. It can't be that way. If a personal example from my own life is I don't allow my wife to take the trash out to the dumpster at our apartment complex. Yes, I don't allow her to do it because why would I want anybody to see my wife carrying trash? That's my responsibility. My responsibility is to do the things that are nasty and to do the things that we don't want to do.
And even on a biological level, it's like our bodies are more capable of handling harsher impact as well too and such. It's like on a biological level, all that makes sense. Us doing the dirty things are the more dangerous thing and whatnot too, because our body can take take more of the impact. Or obviously, women's bodies were made for that specifically. They're made to be a more nurture style. They have a more nurture style body, which is why they have breasts and such.
Right. And if masculine and feminine is confused and misconstrued inside of your household, the generations that you produce will be just as confused and misconstrued. You can't have it's impossible to raise kids that are going to be better for society than your generation was if you don't instill the basic fundamental building blocks that God gave into all of us. If you teach your kids to go against every natural instinct that God gave to all of us as masculine and feminine creatures, your kids are going to grow up fucked in the head and lead another generation to become equally as fucked in the head. It all starts with a strong man. A strong man gets a good woman to submit to him and to be the feminine energy that his house needs. Together, they produce an offspring that takes the best from both of them, and whether that offspring is a male or a female, goes on to do the things that the masculine man did as her father, or the feminine woman did as her mother, or his father, or his mother. It all starts from it's the most basic building block. Your empire, if you have an empire, your citizens need to know the importance of yin yang, masculine feminine. They need to know the importance of that in the household if you want a good, righteous body of people to govern.
Yeah, I was just sorry, I wanted to chime in there. I don't know. I instantly started a clip. Obviously you know about the Modern Warfare 3 clip of the all warfare is based on destruction. Well, I know in the end of that clip, I forget what it necessarily said, but it talked about all the stuff that's going on with obviously within the game. It's like all that can be stirred up or even changed by a single man, and it made me think just hearing that quote where one will of one man can literally change the world, because that one man with his words, with his compassion for society, with his intelligence, with his strength, and not necessarily even just physical strength, just strength to push forward and fight against something that he knows is wrong. It's like the will of a man can literally be such a strong, powerful message, whatever that message is with his will, for all other men and women and whatnot too. And it just needs that one person that can just talk to the people and display his authority over the people, and that in itself can just change society. Which is why you see dictatorships of even the past, take such strong power over its nations and whatnot, and it seems like it's just the will of a single man. And obviously, there's power to it to the group that's up top. It's like obviously it's not just that single man, but due to that single man's will and his words and his wisdom, comes from comes a strong, powerful group that leads a strong, powerful nation. It's and it goes and I only wanted to mention that because you mentioned it's so important within a family to have a strong male figure, a one that displays his authority and doesn't and does take into account what people say, but is firm in his decisions and understands, and and he listens and sees, and he has the eyes to see. And I don't mean with his eyes, but his conscious, his true conscious, his awareness, his spirit. That's what it takes, and that's all it takes for a thing in society to change, for society to change as a whole. It just needs a man with a
Right.
strong will and with strong wisdom and intelligence to change society. But going what you were saying, I probably
Well,
ranted a little bit, but
well, no. I mean, I pretty much summed up what I was trying to say. Uh, it like I said, your citizens have to have a knowledge and an understanding and an acceptance of the importance of masculine and feminine energy and how that is supposed to be used to raise children, to raise the next generation of people. And if you don't have that, you get the world that you have today. And if you don't have a strong masculine, and people think that a strong masculine figure is. I don't even think that people who think that they're masculine actually know what a strong masculine figure is, because most people would say that. I think that the majority of people today would say, well, the majority of men today would say that the best, masculine people out there right now are people like what's Andrew Tate and people like Joe Rogan. They people have this they have this delusional idea of that's what a real man is, and it's not Andrew Tate, it's not Joe Rogan. It's a real man is much more than just the fake machismo and the adultery and the
and just like the masculine physique and whatnot too, because a lot of people
yeah.
play this idea that if you look, and you hear this in those communities too. It's like which I agree. You have to go to the gym. You have to be strong. You have to look strong. You have to that's thing. But that could also just be used as a mask, because there's some people that do go to the gym and are just insecure beta males. But good.
Yeah, there are, and but I wish people could see that this example of masculinity that we've been given as a people, it's a psyop. It is a literal psychological operation to get you to believe that that's what you need to be, and it's not. Andrew Tate is a womanizer, an adulterer. He's obsessed with money. He's everything that's wrong with society, and he's propped up as this beacon of masculinity, and it's actually it's horrible, and it's kind of scary for the next few generations, because teenage puberty age boys look up to people like him, and they think that is what a real man is. A real man is somebody who has no, it's I understand that Andrew Tate says a lot of controversial stuff, but that's just because he has the money and the platform to be able to do it. The real man is the one that goes to work every day for a boss that he hates and he philosophically disagrees with every day, so that he can come home and put money and food on the table for his family, and hope that his words and his wisdom can inspire them to make the changes that he wants to see in society, so that the next generations don't have to do that. The next generations can focus more on enlightenment and less on a capitalistic way of living. But Andrew Tate feeds into the capitalistic way of living. He's all about money. He's all about fancy, expensive cars, super expensive cigars, alcohol. He's a womanizer. He's involved in prostitution.
And then we also can't forget his clip of him saying that he would rather fuck a trans man or trans woman that looks like like a complete woman compared to an actual woman who looks like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
He's massive. He literally masses that stuff. People forget about that clip.
He's delusional. He's literally delusional. But unless you have a song to play for the break.
I sent you one. I wanted you to get another one, but I sent you one and search. We're gonna play two, if that's fine.
You texted it to me?
Yeah, I texted it to you.
Let's see.
We'll play that one because I was letting you spit, but it's an hour and 2 minutes now. No, now going to 3.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We don't have commercial breaks or anything. We can take our breaks whenever.
So we're gonna make sure you get a second song too. But I sent you one. But right when we do come back, guys, I mean, obviously we're kind of already cut into the discussion a little bit more about kind of like our philosophy and how we would like run society and stuff like that. And that's only partial. Obviously, there's so much more to it, and we're gonna try not to get into a whole lot of everything because we want this to spread out a little bit more. But you get a little bit of a teaser, a little taste of what we want within society and what we see that actually works at the end of the day. So we're gonna go to a break now, and we will catch you guys when we come back.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this song, and then I'm gonna play a little bit of motivational inspiration after that.
Okay, sounds good. And we will catch you guys after.
Yo, I've been a professional sinner since birth. Just spent my 30th winter on earth. You can't enter my turf like you surfing the web. Rock mic since DJs spun Debbie Dev. Look out weekend, here I come. Back in 93, I might have brought my gun and bucked the air for fun. Made the party run. I act mad stupid, but don't blame me dumb. Cause where you from, yo, you might get sun. You walk around scared your jewels might get run. But where I stay, baby, we don't play. We don't talk it, we live it till the judgment day. And if I'm called to pay and I forgot to pray, God bless my soul, have mercy on me. Have mercy on me. Have mercy on me. Life's a bitch, don't take the shit personally.
There's a rhyme in the chamber. You in danger, alone in your soul with the words of a stranger. Knowledge is king for those who wanna seek it. If not the whirlwind is yours from the reaping. Think before you analyze a concept. One wrong move could be your last step. Quiet is kept on the set. I bet there ain't no motherfucking second left to fucking wreck. I buck well, versatile with my style. See now, nigga, I hail from the owl. Who out and out? My shit is like wow. Who want a piece of this here right now? Any MC, look at they don't split. Whether you on top of the pile or you clocking the most chips, it really don't matter to a hungry ass, starving ass nigga like me. When you a pimp or a G, step up, get your cold grease broke. We at 610, no, we certified dope. My nigga said D, Andy, and Jeremy. We'll break a nigga down, whoever stepping to me. So act like you know when we in the house, baby. When we in the house, then we know we gon' trip it. Rhymes in the chamber, nigga, you in danger. Look out for metal when I'm out resonating. Got the rhyme in the chamber. You in danger, alone in your zone with the words of a stranger. Knowledge is king for those who want to seek it. If not, the whirlwind is yours for the reaping. Think before you analyze a concept. One wrong move could be your last step. Quiet is kept on the set. I bet there ain't no motherfucking like a massive fucking wreck. Got the blue in the diaper, don't forget hyper. Fucking up the cipher, send door from the cipher. Fool, I tell you something, punk, I ain't bugging. Got the whole south side straight Latin bugging. Fools wanna step up just to get a rep. Instead, what they get is a hole in the head. Better all play soft like you lost in the sauce. Fuck what you heard, send dogs to the boss. Nah, don't get me pissed when I take to the script. I roll fucking heads like the bitch from the grip. Make them all go under, down from the count. The result of my lyrics, no motherfucking down. Got the rhyme in the chamber. You in danger, alone in your zone with the words of a stranger. Knowledge is king for those who wanna seek it. If not, the whirlwind is yours for the reaping. Think before you analyze a concept. One wrong move could be your last step. Quiet is kept on the set. I bet there ain't no motherfucking second motherfucking wreck.
We all get knocked down in every aspect of life.
You're gonna fall flat on your face. You're gonna be criticized when you come out into the arena called life. You're gonna feel awkward and stupid and dumb sometimes, but it's okay. It goes with the territory.
When the defining moment comes, either you define the moment or the moment defines you. Either you define the moment, you decided that you're gonna not concern yourself with the naysayers, that you're not gonna concern yourself with what has happened or what hasn't happened, but you're gonna make the commitment to do what you've gotta do so that you can have a lifestyle that you've never experienced before. Or the moment defines you, and you decide to play it safe. And 20 years from now, you say to yourself, what if I would have taken a chance on myself? What if I would have stayed in the game? What if I would have kept making the calls? What if, and what if? But let me tell you something. Something amazing begins to happen when you make the decision to move forward on your goals and your dreams.
And maybe you've been knocked down in your life and it seems like, hey, the fight is over. It is not over unless you quit.
You have to learn to turn and look at every obstacle as an opportunity.
You gotta get gritty, man. You gotta develop some dog in you.
Life is gonna throw some serious blows, some body blows, and they gonna hurt. But I want you to feel that pain going through your body. And as pain leaves your body, guess what's gonna take its place? Success. No pain, no gain.
Pain has a purpose. Don't go through it, grow through it.
Stop running from your pain and embrace your pain. Your pain is going to be a part of your prize. I challenge you to push yourself.
When you get knocked down, and you're going to get knocked down, when you run into some roadblocks, and you're going to run into them, when you have some setbacks, you can always be able to bring yourself back in, knowing if someone has done it, it's possible that I can do it. You've got to be willing to face rejection and no again and again and again, defeat again and again and again, and every time life knocks you down, you jump up and say, it's not over until I win.
Fight your way through this battle. You have what it takes. Your greatness comes from within. And once you realize that, nothing will stop you. Nothing will keep you from being great. It's already there. You just have to feel it and know that you were placed here for a reason.
I want what all other men want. But when the opposition hits, when the challenge hits, when the pain creeps in, when the uncertainty creeps in, when the cuts, when the scars, when the bruises come, I just want it a little bit more than they want it. If you dare to be great, if you dare to do something that you've never done before, if you dare to go to limits that you've never went to before, they will remember your legacy forever.
What you become in the process is more important than the dream. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. You knew it was hard. but you did it hard. And so here's what I say to you.
Are we back?
We're back. We're back.
Cool.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you again.
All right.
Am I good?
Yep.
I got that little
I like
break in.
listening to motivational videos like that.
Say that again.
I said I like listening to motivational videos like that. I feel like it's easy to get into a funk of a mindset, and those videos help me avoid that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that what he was saying really hits at a man's core because, well, the man we're just built, whereas men we're built to want to thrive and push and keep going, and you can see that even to the smallest boy when he even gets hurt and whatnot too, especially if he's grown up with a strong father figure and whatnot too. They want to get up and they have this pride to keep going, which I know people think is like pride is a bad thing, but pride isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it's like we have it in ourselves to want to push forward, keep going, and even if we feel all the pain in the friggin' world, it's like we just, even if we can endure that, we'll feel so much stronger and feel like nothing can stop us. And that's the thing that you should be pushing in boys, men, any person that's a man. It's like, even you don't even really have to necessarily tell them. Still, men still know deep inside them that's what we are, who we are. At the end of the day, and that's what I like hearing that stuff too. It definitely gets you a pump, especially if you're like about to go to the gym and stuff like that. It's I feel like a lot of men need to hear that nowadays.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Because you and I could test. We know men that could use exactly those traits that need that definitely need that because of like almost a lot of men in society have gotten soft. They've gotten in touch with their emotions. All the feminine aspects that make up a woman. It's like they take on to themselves, and I think you were even touching base on that before the break about like how men need to embrace the masculine and the women need to embrace the feminine. But now it's the complete opposite, where now men are taking on the feminine roles and are told to like just release emotions, just kind of show things to society that we wouldn't normally, and by nature we wouldn't normally. It's not like we're taught to be this way, because I generally don't think men are taught to be this way. It's like we're this way because that's just it. That's in our blood. That's in our genes. That's how we operate. We operate on being stoic. We operate on not showing much emotion, but just doing and just going with things and doing things and trying things. And if we fail, we fix the problem, or we regroup and start anew, start fresh again. We're not perfect by any means, and sometimes we do slip up. But at the end of the day, we still, like, as a man, you still have that fucking drive. You still, which is why when men are taken out of their masculine, they feel separate from themselves. They feel like they don't know themselves. They feel, like a void almost, because you're not embracing it. You're not embracing it. You're denying
it. It's very simple. God created half of the people in the world to be leaders, and half of the people in the world to be followers.
Yep.
And if you as a man deny your natural born instinct to be a leader, you're going to have mental problems. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be sad. You're going to be prone to making irrational decisions. If you have basically what most men live by today, and it's not just men, it's all of society. It's a problem. It's a problem for women too, but I think it's an even bigger problem for men, because men are supposed to be the leaders.
Yep.
Is victim mentality, and thinking that everything is a reason to cry, or everything is a reason to be upset, or everything is a reason, to throw pity on yourself. And there's never a reason to have pity on yourself. There's never a reason to go home and cry in front of your wife and tell her how horribly sad you are. If you cry out of a natural occurrence in front of your wife, that's fine. But if you come home and you start crying and you just tell your wife, "Oh my God, my work was so hard today, and I had to deal with this, and my boss, he was so mean to me." Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? That's the woman's job to complain and be sad and to the woman needs the woman needs the man to pull her out of that funk. If you have a man coming home and putting that on the woman, that's going to make not only the man depressed and out of shape and out of pocket, but the woman's going to be depressed too, because now she not only does she not have anybody that she can confide the things that she's supposed to confide into a man, because her man is being a woman, but now she has to be masculine and help her man recover from his fragile ego.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it's a terrible thing, and it might sound horrible, it might sound unfair that when I say that to change the world it starts with the men, and men have to take accountability for their own actions, but it's true. If men were strong and in control like they used to be, there wouldn't be over a million, or I forget, it's definitely over a million uh, women aged 18 to 24 on OnlyFans. Like, women do horrible shit when they're able to do horrible shit. They're able to do horrible shit when men let them do horrible shit.
That's true.
And so all of our problems in society, all of these problems are going to be fixed by the men, because that's our job. God gave us that job, and we squandered that responsibility and put it on the women, and it made all of society fucked up. It made all society fucked up, fucked in the head. Everybody has a mental issue. Everybody has PTSD. Everybody's sad. Everybody thinks that they deserve more. No, you don't deserve more. Like in that motivational, in that video I just played, one of the people said was, "It's not over until I win. It's not over until I win." It's not, "Oh, I had a bad day, so I'm going to go home and cry and hope things get better." No, I had a bad day, so I'm going to go back to work tomorrow, and I'm going to work even harder so that I know in the future that I can get the fuck out of this place. Or I can go home and cry and be sad and never change anything.
And I wanted to say about like a man going home and crying to his wife and stuff like that too. That in herself shows like obviously there's a weakness in you, and then she feels like she has to play a masculine role that she's not able to be in because she's not a man, and then now everything's out of whack. Now she's trying to play the masculine role, and now the whole household's screwed up. And then you know what happens from that, and especially if you have children, you have you have children that are badly influenced. You have children that are, are more than likely that they're going to do drugs, that are going to get into drugs, that are going to go to jail, that are going to do bad things within society too. That's going to make society even worse. And then within the household too, the nothing's ever going to get done. There's no leader to take role in this stuff. It's like when you show that type of weakness, when you can constantly complain, when you go to do a task outside in the real world and then come back and then act womanly and act feminine, as in like just complaining about everything and crying and whatnot too, it just shows that you're weak and that you're not doing things right, and thinking, well, actually you more have the mindset that everything's supposed to be sunshine and rainbows when nothing's not. It's like the world doesn't work that way. It's not always sunny out. It's fucking like just these past weeks it's rain. Disgusting freaking rain and humidity building up. Feels disgusting. You don't want to go outside, you don't want to do anything. That's the real world. The real world is also suffering, is also sadness, is also anger. It's the dark as well too. And quite frankly, there's more dark than necessarily is light. And that's in you, it's even more that nature. And sometimes you just kind of have to accept that darkness. And I'm not talking about evil. There's a separation between darkness and fucking evil. What I'm saying is that you have to accept the darker components of life in order to even have a light. Because in order to have light, you have to acknowledge the darkness. For there to be light, there is darkness, and you have to embrace it, because that's what half of life is darkness. And if you constantly think and you have in your head that everything's going to go perfect, that nothing could go wrong, and that you're never have to go against obstacles and trials and such that are going to put your integrity in that test your integrity and whatnot, then you're going to lose every single time, and it impacts you personally. But if you have a family and whatnot as well, it impacts them just as much as it impacts you. So you have to embrace the suck. You have to embrace the pain sometimes, and embracing the pain. And I think this is an obvious thing. It's like when people go through experience and stuff like that, and it's just like they hold so much pain inside themselves, and they're holding the pain inside themselves for the sheer fact that they haven't confronted it. They haven't looked into the eyes of the devil and spit in his fucking face, or just acknowledge that he's there and then let him fade away. Because at the end of the day, when you let things linger, when you don't give that thing the attention, it just kind of like lingers there and whatnot too. And sometimes there is a time where you just gotta let it be there and not really acknowledge it. And there's times like when it comes to the process of letting that shit go away, you confront it and be like, okay, you don't have any control over me anymore. That's it. I'm done. I'm not letting anything hold me back from having a better life and having a good physical, mental, and spiritual health. It's like that's how you find true strength within yourself. That's how you truly find yourself, and that's basically how you come to like really true happiness outside of like family and whatnot, and true contentment with yourself. It's like, but on another note, with contentment and stuff, you have to thrive to want to be better and stuff. We're all grown up in a society where we were grown up eating bad foods. We were grown up, living a much more docile life through entertainment and internet and whatnot. It's like we all have that little bit within us that we need to fight, obviously, and some more than others. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is fucking fight back, battle it, acknowledge it, do something about it, or else you're not going anywhere, and you're just gonna live a sad, pathetic life your whole life. That's being completely blunt. We don't do anything blunt on this podcast. Plain, blunt, simple. It's like, get off your ass, do what you need to do. Fuck all the feelings that's going on in you and in your body and your head. Just go and do it. And then you realize when you're in the moment and stuff like that, there's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping you. And all that is just in your head. All that's just in your body. It's like, it's not you. It's like all that's just there. And let it be there, and it's gonna go away. And then at the end of the day, look what happens. Now you got a wife. Now you got a family. Now you got a nice place to stay. And now you're building something for yourself. And most importantly, now definitely with all this comes spirituality. You're in tune with yourself. You're in tune with God, and you're in tune with your higher consciousness. It all plays into live a happy, successful, a true happy, successful life. And then you're gonna look back from the time when you leave this planet, and you're gonna see it's like, I've done what I was supposed to do. I did it. I did what others couldn't achieve. But we gotta get back on track, folks. We gotta get back on track. We have a society here, outside of just weak men, we have masculine women that can't play the role for the fact that they're just not built for it and they don't have the mind for it. And we talk heavily on men right now for the sheer fact that it's like we are men, and then we see that's the most important thing in this, because men are the driving force of society. Men are the driving force through family. Men are the driving force in government. Men are the driving force within law enforcement, military power, strength. That all comes from men. Women are you only see women now within society, within masculine roles, is because we let them. And where does that get us? Tell me, where does that get us? It doesn't get us anywhere. Now we have women. Yeah, women are graduating college. Yeah, they're getting high-end paying jobs and whatnot. Cool. Maybe even sometimes not even. They just got college degrees and whatnot, and usually it's bullshit degrees. They're getting all that stuff, but women are still extremely unhappy. Women are can even be extremely successful and still be unhappy. And why is that? You have to ask yourself, why is that women are most successful than they ever been, but yet they're depressed? And I say successful as in like the modern idea of successful, because that's not my idea of what successful is. It's like
Because they've convinced themselves that they don't want to do what they were designed to do.
Yep, exactly.
It's it's like if you're driving a Mercedes and you're putting regular gas in it. Your Mercedes is eventually going to start to break down and be sluggish, and all types of bad things are going to happen to your Mercedes, because your Mercedes was designed for a specific type of gasoline, whether it be a gas Mercedes or a diesel Mercedes. Your Mercedes was designed for for a certain thing to keep it running and keep it going the way it was supposed to do. Just like women were designed in order for their mental health to be okay. The way they were designed was that they need to produce children. They need to raise children. Every woman has a maternal instinct in them. You're fighting, it's an instinct, it's natural. So you're fighting and you're lying to yourself and telling yourself that you don't want kids, or I'm okay with waiting until I'm in my 30s to start a family. And the whole time in the back of the woman's mind, she's thinking, "Oh my God, if I wait until I'm 30 to have a kid, I might not ever have a kid. The biological clock is ticking. Everybody around me seems so happy, and everything I see on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, everybody my age is just so happy. People are getting married, but I'm going to focus on my career, and I'm going to wait until I'm 30, 35 to have a kid, and hopefully everything goes okay." And then as that plan's going along, the whole time she in the back of her mind, she knows it's not true. She knows that's not what she wants. She knows that she actually wishes she was at home raising kids, taking care of a husband. Every woman wants to be independent, and it's fun. It's cool. It's a cool thing to be an independent woman. It's a cool thing to shit on people who have kids, and it's very common amongst women to shit on other women who are traditional, and that's literally just a case of misery loves company.
And
And
I was just about to say to that. It's like the reason why those women say that too is because they're kind of they're jealous of the lifestyle that woman's living in, because she's actually happy, where that woman, obviously within herself, she's not going to admit it, that she is unhappy. And then she's going to look at that and be like, "Oh, you got to stay subservient to man. You got to be dependent on a man." And you got to think about it. It's like, when you see the nature of man and women, why wouldn't a woman embrace the dependency of a man? Why wouldn't she? That's her nature. That's just, like I said, that's just denying the reality of it all too. And we see when women go into that nurturer role, when they, obey the man and whatnot too, and when they submit to a man and go into that dependent role, and they live great lives and have better mental health and stuff like that too, and stay healthy and whatnot. And that's also due to the man's guidance as well too, which, I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's like, you can't leave. You can't. It's like, if this is gonna, I don't give a fuck. It sounds controversial. Women can't really be left to their own devices, because you see what happens. You see what society is like. This is the society you get when you allow feminism into the question. I mean, that's just one component, but feminism is a reason why society is the way it is now, and why now women nowadays can complain that they can't find a strong man. They can't find a good man out here. And that's either two things. One, it's because they're finding the soy boy beta male. I hate saying that, but it's like, the soy boys and beta male dudes out there that rather be submissive to girl, kiss the girl's ass, and simp out for her, giving her money and stuff like that too. Or two, you have the Andrew Tates. The Andrew Tates that it's like they'll preach traditionalism, but then also go out and commit degenerate acts like sleeping with a bunch of women, not dedicating themselves to a woman and then teaching her in good ways and then making her a wife and then having children with them. Like, and then that's where the women get. It's like, oh, it's just either assholes or men that are not real men, which neither one of them are real men, but obviously that the Andrew Tate's going to be looked at as a real man compared to the soy boy, lefty, they like to say. I mean, like I said, there's both on both sides, but like it's like they're gonna see that, but in reality, he's just as degenerate and beta as the one that they say is like just a skinny soy boy, estrogen filled man. It's crazy, and that's what's being pushed as masculine nowadays. That whole Andrew Tate thing. But we have to understand, there's a balance of all this. It's like, yes, men have, like, for instance, the urge to have sex with a bunch of women, but giving into your lust and having sex with a bunch of women is not being strong because that shows that you don't have control, which makes you less of a man. Because real men have control over their lust, over their feelings. It's a feeling, the feeling of lust. It's a feeling. It's the urge to do this thing. But you don't do it because you know it's against your morals. You know it's not good. You have a wife also on top of that too, and you have children. You have a people to lead. What is it going to see? What is it going to be like when you're leading and then they see that you're stepping out and can't control your own lust? Like, that's just as being equally as weak as the person that cries to his wife. That's just about on the same level. Believe it or not. And most people get into sexual degeneracy and sleep around and everything like that due to even like weakness within themselves and insecurities within themselves too. To be honest, like that, sometimes they just do that. I mean, there's also people that have a lot of money that get into that too. But like I said, all that stuff's a fucking mask. All that material stuff is a mask for stuff that they have problems within themselves. Not to get all psychological or anything, but it's true. I'm sorry, it's true, and you're just as weak as that man, plain simple. But like, I see it as this. It's like, obviously, as we said time and time again, we need to go back to these values. We need to go back where the man is stationed at the head of everything within society. Most importantly, the family, and then goes to that governance, and we've talked about this before. It's like we don't want. Okay, let's make this clear. We don't want necessarily anyone having the right to vote. Nobody. Plain
Right.
simple. Least of all women. We can.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what ruined women was the right to vote.
And funny enough, people don't actually know this. When women were asked if they wanted the right to vote, most women said no. Most women said no because there was so many benefits of not being in that position to vote. One, they didn't have to they don't, draft because they think once you have the ability to vote, you got to get drafted. Two, it also makes women a group to be used in order to push a political agenda. Look at it now. They talk about trans people, women, minorities. They're all used as a way to reel in people into a political party. And women at that time didn't want to be used as leverage. My bad that I'm cutting you off, but
no, it's okay.
No, but go ahead. What
Have you seen this stuff about the celebrities with the long fingers?
So say that celebrities are what?
Have you seen the stuff about the celebrity women with the long fingers? Their fingers are becoming longer.
I haven't actually. I feel like I know. I feel like I know where this is going, but
I'm gonna play this. It's gonna be hard to see. Maybe not. We'll see.
My video of celebrity hands went viral. It's because I'm right. It's because a majority of the population know that this is absolutely abnormal. You're telling me this hand transformation is just from weight loss? Guys, come on. I don't think so. You people act like I don't have aunts and uncles and grandparents and great-grandparents and sisters and moms and me. We all age. My hands have never changed. This isn't... What the heck? And a lot of you also mentioned age. I mean, let's be honest. How much could Hailey Bieber have possibly aged between this picture and peep the hands and this picture? Let's be honest. And I'm not talking about fingernails. I'm talking about the joints of the fingers. How? She has extremely long fingers. All of a sudden, though. And same with Cynthia Erivo. You're telling me prior to Wicked, her and her hands looked like this? Completely normal. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing this. I'm telling you guys, this is very inhuman. This is otherworldly. This is not anything I have ever seen before. Totally bizarre. What is going on? No. I'm showing you actresses who haven't lost a ton of weight. I'm showing you actresses who haven't aged 2 decades. Yet many of their hands look like this. Call me crazy all you want, but I'm telling you right now, this is absolute insanity, and it's not normal.
All right, so I showed you that. Now this is what Nosferatu's hands look like. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
That's a silhouette from the most recent Nosferatu movie.
Interesting.
You can see his long ass fingers. They look these hands look exactly like how female celebrities' hands look.
So, is this like an idea that these women, quote unquote, are vampires?
Well, I mean, I personally believe that they probably are. I think being not. I mean, we know how the world is run.
Yeah.
We know that vampires are real, and it might not look exactly like people think it looks like, but vampires are a very real thing, and you have to remember that the man who wrote Dracula, the novel, the book in the 1800s, Bram Stoker, he wrote Dracula and based Dracula, the Dracula, off of the stories of the stories of the children that were going missing and being kidnapped and having their blood drank by Jews. And these were all stories that were popular in that area in which the novel takes place. And Bram Stoker took those fears that people had and put it into one book called Dracula. Nosferatu was what they called the movie like 100 years ago when it came out. It was for legal reasons. They couldn't legally call their movie Dracula. They didn't have the rights. But I say that to say this. I wholeheartedly agree that the world is run by vampires. And it's not, it is about blood. It's obviously about blood. Everything is about blood. If you want to learn all about the blood, and it's basically a spiritual, dark spiritual energy economy. I very much recommend you go and buy the book on Amazon. I don't like promoting Amazon, but this is the only place you can buy the book. The Light of Darkness, or no, I'm sorry, not well. The Light of Darkness is great, but I really recommend that you read The Devil in Us, a memoir of you and me, written by Bruce MacDonald. On you can buy it on Amazon, and it will detail in depth about the way the world is run and how the people that are in charge are using blood as a currency for uh, a currency for transactions with evil entities, satanic entities, demons, whatever you want to call them, aliens, extraterrestrials, whatever you call them. That's what the blood sacrifice is for. And obviously, this, if you're listening to this show and if you've listened to our other episodes, I mean, it's no secret to you. It's not like this is shocking revelation or anything. That that the world is run by elite pedophiles who sacrifice kids to Satan, but I do wholeheartedly believe that the women whose hands are like that are vampires. My thing is though is why is it all of a sudden not being hidden anymore? Why are they going out in the public like that? So what happens? The reason why Dracula looks all nasty and decrepit is because that's what happens when he hasn't fed. When he hasn't fed on blood in a long time. And so now we're starting to see these women or I mean it's only women that are coming out like this now. Or that have been seen spotted like this. But I want to know why it's happening now. Is there a lack of? Did Jeffrey Epstein, this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, kind of cause a little bit of a slowdown in the trafficking ring?
I was just gonna say, like maybe like it broke up the market a little bit, and now the whole market for...
and little kids are hard to come by. So maybe a lot of them are starving and not able to feed to look younger.
I mean, I remember when we watched like Chuck Swindell and him talking about like how this blood that they feed off of children, it's like a drug to them, and it's like that's basically what what's happening to them. Like these, like I guess maybe withdrawals from all this stuff too, and not not giving into like their their hunger for this blood. It's almost like Darth Nihilus in Star Wars. With him, when he was created through like when he came to be as Darth Nihilus through the nexus of the planet that had this like huge dark nexus around it. He became like a being that needed to feed off force energy in order to keep his hunger sedated and like keep it in check. So he would and more he fed, the more hungry he would get. And then over time, when he hasn't been feeding, he started to deplete more in power and maybe not physically, because there's a point to where he just became a robe as a mask, like his whole physical form went away. But he had to consistently feed in order to keep his power up, and then also to keep his appetite in check. But the more he ate, the more he got hungry. And maybe that's even a case that we're kind of like seeing here because of the market keeping these people fed and keeping them on this blood, which is like a drug for them. It's like now we're seeing the effects of this blood wearing off, which is why now they're looking as monster-like as he is, like the long fingers and like the face like giving in on itself. They're looking a lot more skinny. It's like they look like the undead.
They definitely do.
And maybe that's a good case of why you see more celebrities out like that, because maybe the market itself, like even though we can't see it, is itself being destroyed. And maybe that's also why they are so rampant on making a more surveillance society and a society more secure, so that they can build up a system much more efficient than their last one, where they're not focusing maybe on a single market or whatnot. But that's just a thought from me. Maybe that's obviously, I feel like that could be part of it.
It definitely could be part of it. Something's telling me that I don't know. Maybe I could see a couple different scenarios for what's going on and why they could be showing their vampire form. I was talking to a buddy of mine at work about this today, and he's not as spiritually advanced as us or conspiratorially advanced as us, but I talked to him about things like this from time to time, and he brought up the idea that maybe it's the revelation of the method of them doing this, and I can see that. I mean, it's possible. It could be the revelation of the method. They're letting you know that they are vampires, but the reason why I don't think it's the revelation of the method is because the revelation of the method is usually more direct. For example, the vampire movie, the Lost Boys from the '80s, and it's like a comedy drama. It's a fun movie to watch, and but in the very very beginning of the movie, there's you see things about the news reporting on I can't I think it's they showed like newspaper headlines in the very beginning of the movie about little kids going missing in LA and politicians suspected or being investigated and stuff like that, and then they never go back to it again in the movie. So throughout the whole movie, you're just you're watching the movie. It's a vampire movie. It's a cool movie. I like it. I own it on Blu-ray. But you all you get about the politicians and the missing kids is in the very 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 beginning. It's very quick, and you'd have to be paying attention to read the newspaper headlines on the screen, and then nothing else. That is revelation of the method. That is Hollywood telling you this is what's happening. This is we are trafficking kids to politicians. A revelation of the method where vampires or hands are being seen. I don't know. I feel like that seems more like it's to me. It seems either more like they don't give a fuck anymore, and they're like, "What are you going to do about it? We're just going to be vampires out in the open," or they're saying, or it could be what I said earlier. There is a shortage of kids and blood going around. Either way, it's pretty freaky to see the hands. I saw that video early this morning, and I was I don't. It makes me feel unwell.
And it definitely is an unwell feeling and stuff like that too, because like even though we know the reality of the world and we know who really runs things, and it's not all human by any means, like just to see it like out in the open and like kind of realizing our revelation such a long time ago, it's like it's really crazy to see that, and I feel like that goes for a lot of things that are deemed as conspiracy, and then seeing it now, and you're like just set back by it. You're like, and we've talked about this before, like the times where we could talk about this stuff, and we weren't at the time we're at now where it's actually happening, and it just kind of seems like it's like almost fun to think about, but then like the shit comes to reality, and you're like, fuck, dude, it's here, it's like it's right directly in front of me, and now it's being shown on mainstream TV and social media and whatnot. It's like you had to go somewhere for this stuff to see this stuff. I mean, even though back then too, people posted things on YouTube and whatnot too, and there was a lot more access to it too. Like to get into like much more deeper stuff too, you couldn't necessarily just get on these platforms and whatnot too. And if you wanted to delve deeper, you had to look deeper. But now it's here. It's like just directly in front of their face. And I guess the more part that makes it uneasy is that there's people that don't realize it at all, and there's people that do realize it and kind of just accept it. Like we've seen society now, even like with like COVID and stuff like that, people just accept what COVID brought out, where people mandated to wear masks, people were mandated to stay inside, people were just giving up their freedoms just like that. Like knowing that this stuff, there's no reason for us to give up our freedoms, and there's no reason to there's no reason to submit to this government that we know doesn't have our best interest. It just, I guess that's more the part that makes it uneasy too, is seeing like the deliriousness of everyone in the United States. Almost everyone. I can't say everyone. Almost everyone in the United States. Those who just or just don't know about it or choose to ignore it are those that know about it and just kind of accept it as a thing of life. That just makes me go to think, it's like, what else are they going to accept within society? What else are they going to accept? Next thing you know, pedophilia and stuff is going to be accepted. It seems like.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'm not saying that's a guarantee, but like the way people act, it could be a thing.
It certainly seems sometimes like that's where they're going. Although I don't know, I don't know that's necessarily what they want. I think some of their power comes from the fact that what they do is secret, and so I'm not sure if that's exactly what they want. I don't know if they want everybody in on that. I think their real purpose is just to cause as much confusion as possible.
Yeah. I agree with that completely. Like I don't think that they want society to accept it too, but I was more of coming from the idea that it's like the way society just allow things to happen. It's like, what's next are they going to allow just to happen and just be like, oh,
right.
what are we going to do?
I can definitely see some states or cities passing legislation that it allows pedophilia to flourish. So, who knows when it comes to that. I think it's crazy, or it's not crazy, but it'll be crazy to normal people. The parallels between the story of Christ and what's going on with the pedophile vampires and whatnot, and when Christians talk of Christ, there's a lot of Christians that refer to Christ as baby Jesus, sweet baby Jesus, and Christ himself in Matthew, he says, "Verily I say unto you, unless ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven." And so, based off of that verse, Matthew 18:3, I think it's safe to say that Christ definitely would have considered himself to have become like a child, and in a spiritual sense. And the story of the crucifixion of Christ is a literal adrenochrome ritual.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. Sorry, sorry, I keep coming off, but
go ahead.
It's like I was just kind of thinking that as well too, like because think of like the idea of Christ, like you said, sweet baby Jesus, Lamb of God, the Lamb of God, the Son of God, no sin, completely innocent, who we see as completely innocent children, no sin whatsoever, not tainted by the world. Call him sweet baby Jesus and the Son, whatnot, is put to great suffering before then being killed, and even at the end when they to see if he's dead, they poked a hole into his side and blood drained from his body. It's like you could see the parallels of all of what Jesus went through and through what they call Jesus and whatnot too. To see that's what's going on now behind the scenes with children, holy, innocent children, still in tune with the Spirit, put through great pain and suffering, physically and mentally and spiritually, put through this suffering, and then killed, and then drained of their blood, and being consumed. And then you have that now, look at that, with Christians, they take that story, and what do they go and do at church with the Eucharist? Body and blood.
Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly. In Catholic churches, you go up to do communion. The priest looks you in the eyes. Body and blood of Christ. Body and blood of Christ. Body and blood of Christ. So you're doing a mock adrenochrome ritual every time you go to Catholic Mass and you do communion. You do the sacrament of communion.
Yep, and then you got to like, and then people are probably gonna think, but Jesus is not a child, and obviously we said the terms and stuff like that too. But he might not have been a child, but he's as innocent as one. He committed no sin, right?
Right,
Exactly.
and he he did sin. That's the Christian.
Well, I'm saying within
flaw.
the Christian
Well,
framework.
you're talking about in the story, right? Yes, he didn't sin, but you know, it's also important to note that the adrenochrome rituals, when the elites do these rituals before they sacrifice the child and they drink the blood, they torture the child. And because the torturing of the child is what adrenalizes the blood. When you become tortured and you're on the point of death, when you're on the brink of death, that is when the adrenaline enters your blood the most. Is when you've been tortured so much that you realize that you're going to die. That's why the torture part of the story of the crucifixion is so important, and that's what makes it's a clear giveaway that it was an adrenochrome ritual, was the torturing part, because the Romans crucify people all the time, but not in the way they crucified Christ, not in the way that we're told he was treated before he was crucified, with everything, the crown of sharp thorns that was pushed into his head, being whipped with the cat of nine tails, being forced to carry the cross at an unbearable weight and at an unbearable distance.
And then we see that. Sorry. Yep.
What's that?
I was just saying, and even like when like the movies don't really even do that justice. We're talking about like beatings to where you could see his rib cage and his spinal cord coming out of his body, like to the point, like you said,
right.
nearly of fucking death, and then having to carry a whole cross up for his hanging, basically. And then also when you were saying like the people, like the kids realize, like being put in the brink of death and realizing that they're going to die, like even though the whole time Jesus knew that he was going to die too, and then he even said while he's on the cross, I give my spirit up to the God. It's like because he knew in that time, that's his time, his spirit is going now. And then right after that, they spill his blood out to check if he's dead. Like it all signifies that when you know this stuff, it's literally all there in the story, and that's what's going on too. It's insane to me. But go on. You can go ahead.
Well, I mean that's pretty much what I was getting at.
It's like it lines up so perfectly too, but if you don't engage with the reality in front of you and know what these elites are doing, and then seeing how these elites and your churches and the doctrine is linked with one another, you won't understand it completely too. And it's like if you knew all this stuff, you can put two and two together too, and then you would also reject the idea of Jesus being this sacrificial lamb, which they do call him. It's a sacrificial lamb that purifies you of your sins, which has been an old Jewish tradition even way before this, before Jesus. It's like you would rebuke it, because then you would, if you had a clear mind and didn't just live off the bias of your religion, you would ask yourself, it's like, well, why do I need blood of an innocent to purify me of my sins? Why does a man or an animal have to die in order for the purification of my soul? What's the component of that? And then when you look deeper and deeper into the idea, you realize it's a ritual that's done by evil forces in order to indulge themselves in this energy that they can't conjure up themselves because they separated themselves from source. That's the biggest component of, which is why they feed it off us. We've seen the video of Chuck Swindoll talk about it, and maybe not necessarily in that video he's poked at it a little bit, but he's talking about like society made to be a farming of people. It's funny because with the one video, the one episode I did by myself, I mentioned it's like the whole our society is built like a farm too, without us realizing that we're being farmed all the time too, whether through our labor, whether through our children, being used for their means, whether that be through killing them, drinking their blood, and whatnot too, through just this to keep the cattle docile, fat, and everything in order to be fed off of. That's what our society is being built off of too, and that's what our children are being born into, and that's where other people's children that that have gotten lost and that are in CPS and or just the unknown areas. It's like that's what's happening to them. They're being farmed and they're being eaten and their drugs being drinking because these people need that spiritual energy and need that dose in order to keep themselves young, to keep their form clean, and to be have in touch with spirits for like a temporary part of time. And I imagine that they probably have to do that to take part in other rituals too that they've done on all the masses as well too, through other means of rituals too, because that blood gets them in tune with spirit, and when you're in tune with spirit, you can start manipulating reality around you. So it's a lot. If you really dwell into this information and then look at the parallels of even other ancient stories and whatnot too, but more importantly the sacrificial idea of Jesus' story, you start to realize it's mimicking reality now with children, and why they want to program you kind of in that mindset too, to accept human sacrifice, because there's no denying that Jesus is used as a human sacrifice in Christianity. How could you even deny that? Tell me, how could you deny that? You're a man suffering for you to die for you, and you say that to die for you and me and for all of humanity, so that we can be looked at good with God, because without Jesus we are just dirty rags to God that don't deserve redemption and actually deserve hellfire and deserve suffering and a lower level of reality. Like what? Like, don't you see this is supposed to keep you in the loop, keep you in the fear loop, and keep you accepting something that is obviously wrong, like as of a human sacrifice, and almost in a sense normalizing that for you? Obviously, you wouldn't go out now and sacrifice people now. These same Christians talk about the pagans chopping people's head off and spilling their blood on altars and stuff like that, but out front accept a human sacrifice as their foundational faith. That's insane.
Yeah. Speaking of blood sacrifice, I'm going to share this on the screen here.
You're sharing something?
Yeah, I'm screen sharing. Just I'm going to read two of Trump's latest Truth Social posts. Okay, this was 10 hours ago.
Oh wait, I gotta make my screen bigger. My bad. Sorry. There you go. Cool.
All right. So.
Oops. My bad. Hold on. There you go.
Once.
That's up on there.
So, all right. So this one says here, from 11:44 a.m. today, I have just been informed that almost 20,000 Russian soldiers died this month in the ridiculous war with Ukraine. Russia has lost 112,500 soldiers since the beginning of the year. That is a lot of unnecessary death. Death in all capitals with an exclamation point. Ukraine, however, has also suffered greatly. They have lost approximately 8,000 soldiers since January 1st, 2025, and that number does not include their missing. Ukraine has also lost civilians, but in smaller numbers, as Russian rockets crash into Kiev. As Russian rockets crash into Kiev and other Ukrainian locales. This is a war that should never have happened. This is Biden's war, not Trump's. I'm just here to see if I can stop it. Okay, and then 3 hours after that, he posts this. Based on the highly provocative statements of the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, who is now the deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, I have ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions, just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. Words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope that this will not be one of those instances. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so I said, speaking of blood sacrifice, so the first tweet talking about 20,000 Russian soldiers died this month in the ridiculous war with Ukraine. 112,500 soldiers since the beginning of the year. That is a lot of unnecessary death. 8,000 soldiers lost by Ukraine since the beginning of this year. I don't think any of these numbers mean anything other than the fact that all of these people are being sacrificed. Every war is a blood sacrifice. If you haven't realized from the last, 20 minutes of us talking, blood sacrifice runs the world. The reason why all of the leaders are fucked up and all of the top elites, executives and stuff are all such horrible people is because they all know that the world runs on blood sacrifice and things like this. The reason the war in Ukraine hasn't stopped is because it's an ongoing, continuous blood sacrifice. It's the same thing that's going on in Palestine. It's an ongoing, continuous blood sacrifice that's been happening for the last 100 years.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fucking deaths that Trump mentioned here. I don't know if it's true. Based on the second post, it seems like the first post was just a setup for the second post. For some reason now we're poking the bear with Russia again. I don't understand it. I don't understand anything that's fucking going on in this world anymore. Everything just seems to be so random.
Would you say that like a lot of like stuff that they're pushing on now, especially now that he came up with this today, like is to kind of push people off the minds of this whole pedophile ring and like the whole Epstein list thing, because like maybe they realize they kind of slipped up with this.
It could be. It could be. Who the fuck knows?
Because like the way it's like going out now, and it seems like they're just kind of pushing out everything about and then also making rash moves like this, where I don't see any reason why we're getting in the conflict with Russia all of a sudden too, when Trump's talked about making good tides with Russia. But it's like it seems like now this is just a way to just keep pushing people's mind off this whole thing, because maybe this is like a genuine slip up from these people, and thinking. And because we know Trump's not that intelligent by any means, but like, and that he got too over his head and thinking that he could use that Jeffrey Epstein thing to give himself a stronger base and to get the people behind him. Because every time you talk about children and stuff like that, you're usually automatically going to get people behind you to protect the children. But then he realized now when he has to bring about his findings, when he has the paper in his hand and he needs to show it off, and then realize it's probably a big mistake because he's all completely fucking on that shit. Now he wants to just steer people away from that idea too, because he's got too much eyes on him, too many eyes too, and that's going to lead them to even something maybe extravagant happening now to get people eyes on a war. Because a war is a lot more is a more upfront. It's presented in front of you, and it leads everybody in danger. And then everyone's gonna speculate. It's like, oh, we can be nuked right now by Russia, or we can be bombed right now, which is the reason why he's talking about having the nuclear submarines waiting at the just in case that he needs to make moves on Russia too. And now people are going to be ranting about a nuclear war now. It's like the same script with like Cuba and the United States and stuff like that too, and even America and Russia in the past.
It's the same script being recycled.
It's funny at the comment it says Soul Scripts down there. Sorry.
Oh.
It says it right under his tweet. It's like someone commented that, and it's asking Grook to verify because like Grook's not controlled.
Yeah. It is. It's the same recycled script. Like I don't even know if nuclear war is ever actually going to happen. Like, let alone if nukes are even real. You would think that at some point, in the last, 50, 60, 70 years, some major cities in the world would have gotten hit by a nuke if they were real. Like, why did it stop with Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Why were they the only two cities to ever get nuked? And if during the Cold War nobody got nuked, why wouldn't anybody have gotten nuked in the Cold War? It was extreme tensions for decades. So it's like it almost seems to me that the whole thing with the nukes is just a way to keep people scared and keep people in fear. You know, like in the 80s, you always got to look over your corner for those Russians, for those commies, those pinko commie faggots. You know, the Russians are going to nuke us. You know, every people buying nuclear fallout bunkers to put in their backyards and shit. It just seems like it's a way to keep us in perpetual fear, a nonstop cycle of fear, and
to keep you blind.
It's not even worth worrying about as a regular person, because like there's literally nothing you can do if they are real and they do decide to nuke you, aside from move to an area like 100 miles, at least 100 miles away from a big city. But I just I can't wrap my whole head around this shit with Trump and Russia, and how one day he wants to be best friends with Putin, and the next day he's talking real tough about Putin. And the 112,500 Russian deaths since the beginning of the year, that I don't even think that number even makes sense. How is Russia that negative in the kill death ratio of that war? Like 112,500 soldiers were lost by Russia, but 8,000 soldiers lost by Ukraine this year. That doesn't even make sense. Like, nobody would think that Ukraine would be pulling those kinds of astonishing numbers and impressive numbers. Like, it's almost like that has to be fake.
My bad. I was talking and I didn't realize I muted myself. I mean, that just goes to show, like, it just goes to show, like, people like even have this delusion with Ukraine. It's like you talk to some people, they'll talk about like, oh yeah, you know, this is just goes to show like you can have a strong, authoritative, governed society trying to occupy and oppress another city, and they can just come up and destroy the other side and stuff like that too. And it's like, and people push this narrative, it's like they're putting up a good fight and stuff like that too. And it's like for one, we've barely seen anything really about this war. Maybe for like the time of its like inception, but then past that too, which has been going on for fucking years now. It's like you're telling me now that Ukraine is just still propped up and still has people after this apparently war, day by day war going on with Ukraine. That's happening.
Right.
Do you know the population of fucking Ukraine? How are they still fighting with the amount of time that they had fighting Russia? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
And how is Russia suffering such huge death numbers while they're invading? Like, I can see if you get invaded, your soldiers just getting slaughtered. But you are invading. How are you losing that badly while you're invading? It doesn't make sense.
No, and it's like you want to think like this is like a war, like where people are dying being sacrificed. Like it's like going through a sacrifice, and it's like it's possible too. But on another note, this could just be a total gaslighting of people's fucking minds too, and make them think there's something going on in all globes of the world, and it's like a great superpower going against a country who's not even that powerful too. But this powerful country is taking so much damage from this not powerful country. And it's like they're making it seem like the Ukrainians fight a great cause and stuff like that. And if you guys know like a lot of history about Ukraine in that area too from our last episodes, there could be a lot of reasons with that, reasons why there's such a concern over there. But it doesn't. It's like the numbers are not adding up. I mean, like you can keep pumping the numbers up more and more and more. It's still not going to make any more sense. And really, no one's even really paying too much of a mind of it anymore. Too. That's which I guess they're trying to pump it up more now because, like I said, they're trying to distract people from the real issue that's completely going on here. It's definitely like a distraction tactic too, and there's probably more to it. We don't recognize it completely right now, but there's definitely more to it, and it's insane to see that old information, old news, just stuff that no one even thinks about anymore. It just happened to come up over the horizon again. Death tolls are going up more, and now there's imminent threat of Russia once again, even though our president didn't want problems and wanted to create peace. Like, I truly don't understand it too, but that's the whole game. Being gaslit, being tricked, being deceived, but then it's all okay because everybody accepts it. As long as you accept it, it's okay for them to do that. If you accept the lie, it's okay. No matter if it's a lie or not. If you accept it, it's cool. The burden's taken off of them now. You accepted it because you don't do fucking research. You don't look into it. You rather keep your head in the gutter. It's like, and not seeing that you're being treated like a fool. You're not being taken serious. But yet you think your vote matters. You think that, they have your best interests at heart. You think that you can actually communicate with your higher ups. You can't do shit because you straight up just accept anything they tell you anyway too. It start about that time to question what this reality is, because this is a constructed reality to keep you deceived and to keep you coming from your true nature. That's all that is. It's never been true reality as it is. No one's supposed to be deceived like this or brought up like this or
Right.
exposed to this type of stuff. And it's only, I mean, they definitely exposed because people got to know, but I mean, like, expose the stuff that's going to keep melting their goddamn brain. That's what I more mean. But
Yeah.
it's insane.
Well, the one thing we all know is.
Can you get closer to the mic? You're kind of low.
Oh, my bad. The one thing we all know, the one thing we know for certain is that we know nothing. And it's important to keep that in mind as we go about in this crazy world, is that never let yourself become so obsessed with one idea that you become completely blind to everything else. And we have to keep our minds sharp and stay aware of our surroundings, because the world around us changes with the wind. And 1 minute you think one thing, and then the very next day some new headlines come out that make you think a whole different set of information. So nobody really knows exactly what's going on anymore. And the one thing that you can have faith in is that the evil will not prevail. Everything's in the end will be okay. You have to have faith that everything's going to be all right, and that the light will overcome the darkness eventually. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but just be happy that you have the opportunity to be a piece of the puzzle for the light overtaking the dark.
So I actually wanted to ask you this. So like for people, let's say people that are kind of like, we've been in this game for a long time too. We know about the ups and downs of all this stuff too. Not saying we know everything, because we're still constantly learning stuff like that and still creating hypotheses and stuff like that. Or so like people that are kind of getting their eyes open to this stuff and everything like that too. It's like, what is like stuff that they should like look into, or what is probably the most important thing know and do at this time? Like, what do you personally think?
The most important thing people can do is in my opinion, stop living for their senses. Stop living for your desires and your wants, and start living for your spiritual needs.
I agree.
make it a point to avoid lusts, to avoid the negative thoughts, to put God first in everything. You have to prepare yourself for spiritual spiritual warfare in this time. And people can talk all the shit they want about being spiritual and whatnot, but if you're not actually preparing yourself for spiritual warfare, then you're doing yourself a disservice and the people around you, because if you're talking spiritual but you're not actually practicing the preparedness for spiritual warfare, then you're going to let everybody around you down when the time comes for you to show how ready you actually are. And there's demons and vampires, and it's like every monster that you've ever heard of is real, and they run the world. Okay, so and it's outright, it's blatant, it's obvious. You can't deny it anymore. Evil is at the helm. Evil is in control. Evil is driving right now. And if you're not doing the things, if you're not, staying away from lustful thoughts, practicing, abstinence outside of, if you have a spouse or a committed relationship, if you're not, meditating, or at least praying. Not everybody has the ability to meditate all the time, but everybody can roll out of bed and pray, get down on their knees and pray to God, and thank God for everything that they have. Do something spiritual with your life. An easy thing to do for a lot of people is give up eating meat. I mean, you don't need to eat meat. It's not a requirement for you to live. You can live just as long and just as well without eating meat, but it's something simple that you can go without. You can deny your body something that your body wants, because when you deny the flesh, your spirit grows. So if you even if you don't have any philosophical reasons to stop eating meat, other than to just deny your body something that it wants, deny the flesh something that it wants, to grow yourself spiritually. It's the same thing. You deny yourself pornography if you're addicted to pornography, and you'll grow spiritually. But that's for the intro. That's for the beginners. Deny yourself all the things that you're addicted to that you're bad for. Obviously, that's the first step. Then you take it to the next level, and you deny yourself the things that you're not addicted to, but you've been accustomed to your whole life, that aren't necessary. Okay, I'm not going to eat meat anymore. Slowly, I'm going to start weaning myself off of social media. Slowly, I've personally been thinking about getting a flip phone, stuff like that. You do the small things that are easy, that can prepare you for spiritual warfare. That's what I think.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you, and because as you and I both know, spirituality is the fundamental of all things. Like true spirit is the fundamental of all things, and everything's built off that fundamental. And like I don't think it's even necessary like nowadays to know all the so-called conspiracies and stuff like that too, because we're in a stage now where everything's coming to light. Everything's going to be presented to you anyway, because like I said, they're not hiding stuff anymore as well. They just have a keen eye for it too. But you have that keen eye by being spiritually in tune with yourself and opening up that eye. Don't let the whole third eye thing scare you, because it's nothing to be scared of. But it's like opening up your eye of wisdom and seeing for the world how it truly is. And like I said, you do that through the spiritual practice that Strider has listed out. And you go about, improving yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. And like I said, the conspiracy stuff isn't even necessary. And to be honest, we're here to show you guys that too. We've been on this journey for a long time ago, and we're always keeping up to date. Not saying that you guys can't. Not saying that you can't look up any information for yourselves or anything like that, or even look more into depth that we're talking about. But there's people that already been on the journey, that's out here already giving you this information. Like myself and Strider, or like when he mentioned Bruce McDonald or the likes of Chuck Swindoll and stuff like that. There's guides out here ready to give you the information. All you got to do is watch them, read their books and whatnot, and if you want to look more into it, you look into that information too. But don't seem like that, you're all on your own. You gotta search out this information, because quite honestly nowadays it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is spirit, because the earth is shifting. We're going from a materialistic world to a spiritual world, to a metaphysic world. It's like that's what we're going into, and that's what you want to be prepared for. All that stuff, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, all the other conspiracy you can think of too, all the material is going away. It's going, guys. It's leaving. It's not gonna be any more of that anymore. It's gonna be a new world, a new earth, a one built more in spirit, like how it, and at some point how it used to be. It's being renewed. So all this stuff that we're so concerned about now, that we feel like it's such a concern, just know it is going away too. And that's not a way to make, like, in some sense people could see that as like a depressing thing, that things are going away. But no, you gotta look at the renewal of everything too. Like look at the seasons itself. Like, things die, the trees die, everything, but they become renewed. They're better. They're more vibrant. Everything's comes back. Recognize that and realize that. It's like, and then
Definitely.
be more in tune with your spirit. Did you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say, Lux, it's been 2.5 hours.
Oh shit! Yeah, holy. I mean, I looked at the time earlier and I just saw it's like we got a good time.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap this up.
I got a song for the ending, so.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm not necessarily tired, but I think we've given the people enough for this episode.
Yeah, and like obviously more with our like philosophy of the society we want to build and whatnot. That's going to be things that obviously we're going to talk about behind the scenes, and we're going to give it to you guys more and more. It's going to be like a breakdown thing too, and we're always reading and learning, so we're going to bring it to you guys because we have more to offer. But you're right. I think this has been pretty good, and I think it is time to wrap it up now because now I'm hungry again. So there's that too. But I think it's good. I think it was a good show, and I will sign us out with this song. And Strider, you have a good night. And
hold up.
Oh.
Hold up.
Yeah,
make sure everybody make sure you tune back in next Friday night, around 8 p.m. Eastern. If not at 8 p.m. Eastern, a little bit after. We're gonna go till probably at least 2 hours until we feel like we've said enough for the night. So yeah, let's get out of here. And Lux, you play that song.
All right, bro. Kind of stole my thunder there, but I got you. It's all right, bro. But I appreciate you. Have a good night. And everyone out there, have a good night. Apokalypsis Live. We're out.
When your kid is hurting and
Now, when I was a little boy, at the age of 5, I had something in my pocket, keep a lot of folks alive. Now I'm a man, May 21. You know, baby, we can have a lot of fun. I'm a man, I spell M-A-N, man. All you pretty women stand in line. I can make love to you, baby, in an hour's time. I'm a man. Spell M-A-N, man. I'm going back down to Kansas soon. in fact the second cousin, Little John the Conqueror. My man, spell him A-N, man. Never miss the way I make love to them. They can't resist. I'm a man. I spell him A